Kids always are seeing money. It's in their vicinity. They're seeing it being spent, they're seeing it being used, they're aware of it. And yet, for some reason, we decide, oh, we're not going to talk to them about it until it's later on in life when they're actually earning money. But that's too late.
Welcome to Getting Money Right, a show dedicated to helping you achieve financial freedom through education and inspiration so you can be free to pursue your true life's purpose. We're your hosts, David Thompson and Leo Sabo. And in this episode, we are talking with Shivanii Ray. Shivanii, first, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really glad to be here.
Oh man, you are amazing. So just so our audience knows, Shivanii is an international speaker, a gamification expert, basically making things fun, making complex things easy to engage with and enjoy. Having fun while learning finances is something that Leo and I love to do. So she's a gamification expert. She grew up traveling the world. So she has a ton of really cool personal stories and interesting just life experience. But then on top of that, professionally, she serves people all around the world as well. She is the global face and community champion of FUNancial Freedom, not financial freedom, FUNancial Freedom. Shivanii helps kids and teens become financially smart. Her whole life mission, her heart is to help kids and to help teens learn about finances, change their mindset, get tools that they can practically use to basically fill the gaps of our modern education system, which is something that Leo and I talk about all the time, that there needs to be more fun financial content in the education system. And that's what Shivanii does. So Shivanii, thank you again for being here. Welcome to the show. Is there anything else that you want to share just to introduce yourself more to the audience?
I think you really covered most of it. I'd like to say that because I've had a really unconventional upbringing, it's allowed me to see a lot more of the globe and travel. But it also allowed me to learn about things that were not really in the education system because I was global schooled. And so that's where I fit in perfectly with what we do at FUNancial, because we're filling in those gaps because I know personally where those gaps are, because I got to learn about the things that I wanted to learn about that not necessarily are in the standard school system. So that's my little add-on to your wonderful introduction.
Oh, well, thank you again for being here.
So Shivanii, I have one question for you. Where were you when I was trying to teach my kids about money? Because I could have made it much more fun.
Depends on how old your kids are.
Yeah, you were probably their age, unfortunately, so you wouldn't have been able to help me. But I'm grateful.
Darn.
I'm grateful for you because it is a difficult topic to teach children, and parents don't relate to kids the same way that an outsider might. I taught my kids how to manage money and begin to do that. My wife and I did when they were 5 and 7, but it took time for them to really grasp to it. And it's usual because the parent isn't quite equipped to communicate at that level where you can make it fun. So I was really excited to hear from you and to see what you guys are doing. We want our audience to be exposed to what you guys are doing so that they can find a resource that can help them to do it more effectively, more fun, so that their kids can win with money. So let's just get started with, how do you get the conversation started about money? How do you guys help parents to get the conversation started?
Honestly, the first and most simple answer is just talk about money. Like, I know it seems so basic, but it really is that simple. Too many parents are either hiding the conversation of money, or there's a stickiness around it, and they're just not willing to open up around money matters. And I think because there's such a heaviness around debt and, a lack of finances, they close it off to their kids and don't really have those conversations. Kids always are seeing money. It's in their vicinity. They're seeing it being spent, they're seeing it being used, they're aware of it. And yet, for some reason, we decide, oh, we're not going to talk to them about it until it's later on in life when they're actually earning money. But that's too late to start talking about money. You got to start earlier because they're going to see it regardless. And they're going to see how your reaction to money is regardless. So simply just start having conversations around money, whether you're going to a grocery store or, play a guessing game around how much did the groceries add up to? Like for younger kids, that's such a fun, like simple thing to do. And yet it gets the conversation going. It gets the mindset around money to start like thinking about things like that, the value of a dollar, how much, just start talking about money. Super simple. Just have those conversations.
I love that. It sounds simple, but it's actually quite profound because it's in the midst of doing life that you can help your children process through things like money, which is an interesting and important topic for them, right? It's going to affect their lives going forward. And kids do, I formed my own opinions about money. And I remember because my parents fought about money all the time. So I formed a certain opinion about money. And one thing I said, I'm never going to fight about money with my spouse. Like I don't want my kids to feel this way. And it's actually what motivated me to get our finances in order. But I did a lot of damage before, in order to fix that. And what you're saying is, as parents, get out there and start talking to them in the course of doing life.
Yeah.
And then it'll just be something that they figure, well, that's just what you do. You talk about money. And when you start making it, it's okay to say, hey, is that the best use of your money? And you can guide their spending and their thoughts and ideas of money so that they have healthy ones. So that's great.
Well, the cool thing too about teaching your kids about money is that money is always a tool and a resource, but it gives you the chance to go deeper to the next level with your kids and talk about their goals, to talk about their emotions, to talk about your family values. So money is going to touch all of those things. And so when they go to spend money, or you as a parent go to spend money, and you're saying, okay, the reason that we are purchasing this object in this way, or the reason that we're investing this money in this way, you can teach your kids family values. You can teach your kids about setting goals, and you can teach your kids about being self-aware of their emotions when they go to make an emotional purchase. Obviously, it all has to be age appropriate, but there's so much depth that you can do engaging your kids around finances. So start the conversation. I love that, Shivanii. So one of the best ways for kids to actually engage with money is to earn a little money themselves. So I know that this is your wheelhouse. So what can kids do to start making money? What have you seen be successful? What are ways that parents can support? How can kids start making money themselves?
Yeah, that's a great question. So inside of FUNancial, we teach both online and offline methods of, how kids and teens can earn money. And so for the kids, we have simpler things like, a lemonade stand, or, sorting out business cards. I did that growing up. My dad would go to networking events and he'd be like, I don't really want to sort through these cards. Shivanii, here's something you can do that's of value to me and I'll pay you for it. We never got paid for chores, and I stand by that. So look for ways you can add value instead of just being paid for chores, which are things that I think you should probably do anyways. But for teens, we do things like social media graphic design. It's so easy to go on something like Canva, which is completely free at the start, and you can, create great graphics on there for people who need them. And frankly, we live in a digital world where everyone needs something like that. We teach car wash, babysitting, a number of different things that you probably have heard of, like different ways to earn side hustles. Also like t-shirt designing and actually, creating your own product. All of those kind of things we dive into. And frankly, I think the biggest thing as a parent is to ask your kids or teens, what is it that you like, and can you make money from it in some way or capacity? So you start getting them to think about, how can I add value and what are my passions? And as you said, kind of dive deeper into where their goals are, what they like to do. Them as, young children, young adults, as they move forward, if they start doing this now, they'll probably have a way better idea of where they want to move towards in the future too, especially around career or, anything like that. There are so many different things. I would just say get started, and it's okay to change for the kids or teens out there. Like, get started doing something. If you don't like it, move on to the next thing, but put your feet in the water, like test different things and just experience it.
What I'm hearing you say is that it's okay for kids to have an entrepreneurial bent, even if they do decide to go down an educational path and get a
Yeah.
degree, and but this is something I think can help anyone. So
Mhm.
how do you guys encourage that through your programs, that kids do actually try things? And I think you just mentioned something that's really important, which is try, and if it doesn't work, don't stop. Try something
Mhm.
else. So
Mhm.
dig into that a little bit deeper, because I think parents really need to understand how important entrepreneurship could be to your kids' development. Even again, if they don't become a business owner or as an entrepreneur, they could be a
Mhm.
doctor, attorney, whatever. But
Yeah.
how can that help, and how do you guys help them to embrace that?
So what we found is when kids actually start earning money, create a side hustle, create their own business or brand, they actually start to firstly become far more aware of the value of a dollar. They start to become more aware of the value that they can provide to others. And that's a very, very good mindset to have, instead
Yes.
of, oh, just let me accumulate things, let me just earn money for the sake of earning money. No, it's coming from a mindset of adding value and doing something for money. That's a mindset that I've seen really accelerate the thought process within kids, because
Mm,
they're looking at life from giving versus just receiving. It's a
oh, I
give
love
and
that.
take.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why we encourage kids to dip their toes in entrepreneurship. They don't have to go down that route for sure. But at an early age, it exposes them to so much more too. It makes them feel confident. There's
Mm,
communication skills required. For a lot of the businesses, doesn't matter if it's online or offline, there's negotiation involved. There's so many different skills that come underneath the umbrella of entrepreneurship. But if they start doing that, there's so many different things that will just accelerate for them, regardless if they stick down that route or not.
yeah. Wow. That's excellent. No, I
Yeah.
love that, because it does expose your kid to all of the things you mentioned, and all of those are necessary, regardless of
Mhm,
what career path you take. Being able to communicate effectively, being able to have the confidence, being able to negotiate, whether it's your
mhm.
salary or just whatever it is you're trying to encourage or build in your organization, or projects you're trying to develop. So, yeah, that's excellent.
Even the idea of teaching your kids how to build a brand around their business,
Mm,
the brand itself, again, you go to that second layer of depth. You can
Mhm,
teach your kids about their personal brand and about how
mhm.
they represent themselves to the world and
mm,
what they're
Exactly.
communicating and the promise that they're making when they put their name on something or when they put their
Mhm,
brand on something. So it just, again, all of this, like you said, it opens up all these second level conversations on
mhm.
confidence, communication, negotiation skills,
Yeah.
giving value instead of just taking. I just love it. So, we're talking about engaging kids and helping them grow in their business, but how would you describe the relationship that parents have with money to how it affects their kids?
mm.
Because I'm
Mm.
thinking that, a lot of times parents will be like, here, you go just do this. And like everything will be fine if as long as my kid does their own little business. But over here, the parents have a slightly different relationship with money.
Mhm.
How does the parents' relationship with money affect kids?
Oh, tremendously. I would say that we teach kids and teens about money. That's our goal. But I think our side goal is to really get parents thinking about how their relationship with money is affecting them as a family. Because as you mentioned, like arguments in the home around money, it causes so much stress and
Mm,
anxiety, and kids are gonna see that and they're gonna absorb that, and then they're gonna end up
yeah, interpreting
probably
it a certain way.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
gonna they might even themselves start getting stressed around money, and they're not even in that space yet. Like they could be 6-year-olds absorbing all of that, and then later on in life those patterns start coming up and they're like, where's this coming from? And it's probably from the parents. So we want to break that cycle for the parents and kids, so
Mm,
that the next kids that come along, next generation, don't have to view money from a sticky, heavy place like that. And so I would say to parents, firstly and foremost, like just ask yourself, hey, what is my relationship to money? When I spend money, what are the feelings that come up? When I receive money, what are the feelings that come up? And just ask yourself those deeper questions, because they will change, firstly, how you probably perceive money, or at least shift you in a better direction. And it will help your family as a whole, because your kids probably won't fall into the same patterns that you did. And chances are you don't want that for your kids as well. So
Yeah, that's great. It reminds me back probably about 9 or 10 years ago, my wife and I were asked to teach a class during the summer at our church for parents. And they were teaching them two different things, about sex and about money. And so one pastor was teaching on the sex part. My wife and I were teaching on the money side. And what was interesting to us is when we started putting the content together for the class, it was a 3-week class, we recognized that it wasn't really so much of what we were teaching the parents to do with their kids, is we're going to have to teach the parents to make sure they were doing it, that their behavior was actually saying the right things, and they were modeling well what they were going to teach their children. And then, of course, they can pass that on. So it was interesting to put that together, and we just realized it's really about teaching the parent. So much of what's involved in teaching your kids about money has to be that you have the right perspective. I love what you just shared, because kids will pick up whatever it is that the parents, how they behave with money, their own relationship with money. So it's so important for them to be aware and deal with it. Maybe this is the right time to deal with it because you want your kids to be healthy. The one thing I hate is when a parent says it's too late for me, and no, it's never too late, because if you're not a good role model, they're going to carry that. We can't help but become our parents eventually. I'm old enough to tell you that's actually quite true. So it's so important that we get it right.
Yeah. And I also think that in terms of the mindset around kids and parents, there's a very different mindset around money. For parents, making money and having money and being smart around money is coming from a sense of being able to be comfortable, survive, to provide for a family, and all those kind of mindsets. And for kids, it's about building a lifestyle. It's about traveling. Their priorities are different. But if you can align with the right mindset, like with your kids, be like, okay, I know that you want to go do this. Here's how you can do it, and present learning about money and learning about finances in a way that actually gets them to be interested. That's a whole other thing as well. Because, like, for example, my sister, she was, I think, 15 or something at the time, and she wanted to travel to the UK to visit family. And my parents were like, okay, well, if you want to do that, you can do that, but you have to do it yourself. And she's like, okay. So she started babysitting, she started hustling, and she ended up not only, making the money to go do that trip, but she started implementing really good saving habits. She started, really understanding the value of a dollar. And now she's like doing better financially than so many, firstly, kids and teens of today. But even like my family were like, damn, you have so much money in your savings account. Good for you. But you start to see that if you align with the right goals and the right mindset, your kids will pick it up, and they'll start doing the right thing if they know what their priorities and goals are. And again, everything with money goes one step deeper and starts other conversations. And that's why I love what we do, because it's not just about money. It's about so much more underneath that too.
Yeah, so good.
That's great. Well, if parents wanted to do one thing today, they want to take away one thing from this podcast episode and say, hey, what's the one thing I can do to help my kids become more financially smart and activate right away? What would you point them towards?
I would, first and foremost, always, I say, just talk about money. Just have those conversations. It's, again, so simple, yet it really does open up so much. And secondly, I would say encourage your kids to start earning money, not through an allowance or chores, but actually get them to actually go out and do something. Doesn't matter how much they earn, but just start that journey for them, because they will appreciate a lot more around money matters, because they know how much work and time it goes into providing value and receiving money for that. So that would be my two things that I would suggest.
Good. So what makes FUNancial Freedom a unique program? Let's talk about what you guys do and how you help parents.
Sure. So we have two versions of our program. We have the kids version and the teen version. The kids version is all animated, so we make it super fun, really bite-sized, break down the big concepts around money. The goal of FUNancial was to make money fun. because frankly, it's just so heavy and such a big topic most of the time. And that's why a lot of people don't end up talking about it, because they think, oh, it's this ginormous, daunting task. And so we wanted to kind of break it down so that kids could go through the program. Frankly, most adults go through the program too and love it. They're like, I wish I had this one when I was young, and they love it too.
So cool. Yeah.
It's really great because we have parents coming up to us and be like, okay, I put this on for my kids and they started loving it, but then I started loving it. We're like, perfect. We've done our job. And so we really break it down for them. And then we teach them one thing about money every month. So we follow what we call a LEAP process. So learn, earn, accelerate, and play. So learn is about learning one thing about money, whether it's what's the difference between a debit card and a credit card? How do you open up a savings account? Like stuff like that. In earn, we go through how do you actually earn money. So we go through either an offline method or an online method of earning. And accelerate, we actually teach kids and teens about investing. So now you've got the money. How can you actually accelerate and grow your money? Which I feel most people don't talk to kids about. They don't talk about money a lot, but they don't talk about investing, like rarely. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we know that if we start doing this earlier, kids are going to be in a way better financial spot. So we're like, why are we not having these conversations and introducing them to these matters? So that's why we teach them how to accelerate their money. And then in play, it kind of is the summing up of it all, which is like goal setting, habits, how to be productive, all those things that add to the stuff that we've talked about, everything that comes underneath and opens up from just talking about money, we dive into and play to kind of round it off. So we do that for the kids and the teens. And I teach the teen content because at a certain point, kids are like, oh, I'm too old for cartoons.
The animation.
The animation.
Yep.
And we do more YouTube style with them. And then we have the parents come together and work through the whole system with the kids. At least that's our goal, so that it's a family experience. And as a family, they learn together, because at the end of the day, I feel like when families learn together, they achieve so much more. So that's a little bit about us and why we love what we do, because we get to make an impact. We really do. It's incredible to see some of these kids and their goals. We have a young boy who's like, I'm saving up for a Lamborghini. I'm like, you go do that.
You know what I love about what you just shared, and I hope our audience caught this. If not, I'm definitely going to make sure that they do. And which is, and I think this explains so well why David and I do what we do, and why we're so called to this financial education space. And that's money is a way to help healthy development of your children, but also us as adults. It's a way to become better in every aspect, right? Because it is something that forces you to look at your emotions, to look at what's driving you, to look at your goals. How intentional are you at living? Are you just moping through life, or are you actually intentionally going somewhere? And I love that you guys have created something that's fun, something that speaks to young kids, but also to teens, obviously, because getting them set early on to understand, to be self-aware, to begin to work through some of the emotional stuff so that they're healthier, more confident, able to jump into adult life, adulting, and not scratch their heads and say, what do I do? Who do I ask? I don't know what I don't know. I have a friend who does some public speaking, written a few books, and she came on Facebook the other day, or Instagram, I forget which one, but she goes into this telling us that there's this young person that she used to be a teacher, that had reached out to her and said, can you touch on adulting? Can you help us understand this? And she's just kind of like, is this really needed? And I hate to say it, but it is. We just didn't do a good of enough job equipping our kids to step into a life of an adult with all the responsibilities, but also all the opportunities that come with it. And I think finance is a great gateway to get there.
Yeah, I say this all the time. Like, I feel a lot of teens feel like they've been thrown into the deep end at a certain age, and they're just attempting to figure stuff out. And if we can have these conversations, firstly around money, around mental health, around so many different aspects around life that maybe aren't touched upon enough in, for example, traditional schooling, they won't feel like they've been thrown in the deep end. And that's really where I find myself really passionate, because I know that if they do have these skills, these mindsets, the education, that they're going to do so much better in life in so many different aspects, but also just feel more confident with themselves. There's too many kids and teens that are going throughout life just kind of deep breaths, like, like, oh no, like I have to do all this for myself and not really know what to do and how and this and that. And just allowing them and giving them the resources to be able to step into life and feel way more confident in all aspects. So I definitely agree with you.
It's incredible. Well, Shivanii, where can people go to find the Financial Freedom content and the program that you guys have built? And where can people go to learn more about you personally?
Sure thing. So actually, I have a free gift for your audience.
Oh, amazing.
So if you would like to download our free 10 things checklist that parents need to teach their kids about money today before it's too late. It's a long title, but it's necessary. You can go to,
it's okay.
Yes.
yeah, the 10 things about money.com. So 10 about money.com. So 10 things about money.com. And you can go
we'll
there.
Put that in the show notes too.
Perfect. Thank you. And you can join our community as well through that. And then me personally, I'm on all of the socials. So Shivanii Ray, you type it, you'll find it. There's not a lot of people with my name out there. But Instagram is a perfect place for you to go to connect with me.
Awesome. And Shivanii has 2 I's at the end. So Shivanii, Shivanii Ray. And you'll see it in the show notes and have easy access even in the title of the program. So Shivanii, thank you so much for being here today. Leo and I have gone and watched some of the animated content. We've watched some of the team content that you've put out personally through the program, and it's excellent. The graphic design is amazing, the visuals, the background, the way that the animations, bring financial truths to life and engage. We enjoyed them, and we could not help but bring you on the program to serve our audience well and help engage kids with this content. So great job. We love what you're doing. And I just want to say thank you to everybody listening. Hope that you enjoyed this episode and that you'll join us next time. So together we can keep getting money right.
You start to see that if you align with the right goals and the right mindset, your kids will pick it up and they'll start doing the right thing if they know what their priorities and goals are. And again, everything with money goes one step deeper and starts other conversations. And that's why I love what we do, because it's not just about money. It's about so much more underneath that too.